Hello and welcome back to the letter. It's been a couple, it's been a little bit since I recorded, though, for me anyways, if you're watching this later. But yeah, had to kind of refresh myself a bit. But we are starting Zach's story, for Isabella. I think straight from where we ended off with Isabella in the office, came to Zachary after being spooked. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Not much to say. Excited to get back into this. I'm expecting this to be good since, like, I thought Isabella's story was pretty good. I thought Hannah's story was even better. So, are we gonna continue the upward trend? I feel like that might be hard since I really liked Hannah's POV story, but we'll see, we'll see. I think we did good with Isabella. So this is what it's looking like for Zach. Doesn't really likes most people, and we boosted a little bit with Hannah with that like awkward eating. It's kind of weird to look at actually, because technically I think the stuff with Hana came in the future. So technically she shouldn't be boosted yet, but it's okay. Time stuff, huh? But yeah, this is, well, soon to be the next day, I guess, so. Oh, yeah. Almost forgot to turn on the sound, dude. Good thing I caught it. All you were missing with is this annoying ambient noise anyways. But yeah, I'll just start it up. Darkness immediately welcomes me as soon as my head hits my makeshift pillow. I can only wish the dreams would keep it at a distance for now. For both of us. Okay, I was literally... What an odd place for me to stop, huh? But being that close, I guess it doesn't really matter. Like the little fishy carpet. The first few notes, while muffled, are enough to wake me. In the end, it became one of those nights when sleep passes like a blink and is plagued with vague, fuzzy thoughts. I lift a hand to rub away the drowsiness from my eyes, although it does a little to relieve the gritty, burning sensation from my eyelids. Outside, the sun has yet to peek over the horizon, but night has already given way to the cool morning light, washing everything in the subtle gray hues. It's very annoying. At this hour, the entire city remains unstirring. Ordinarily, waking up before my own alarm means abusing the snooze button twice or thrice just to catch those precious few extra minutes of sleep. But the persistent ringing makes it impossible now. Please pick it up. Please pick it up. Gradually, I scramble for the maid sitting at the foot of the bed. Ashton, my boy. The ringing still hasn't stopped even as I fish the phone out, and Ashton's name flashes brightly on the screen when I turn it on. Must be pretty urgent if he hasn't dropped the call yet.
Took you long enough, Z-Man.
Oh, I missed you, Ashton. You're so cringy, but I love it.
Ashton, it's 6 in the morning. The sun hasn't even risen. Hell, my brain ain't even awake yet. Stop calling me Z-Man.
It's 20 past 6, Zach.
I mean, that is pretty early. That's how I used to, like, during school. I would always, like, elementary and high school, I'd always wake up at like 6, eat breakfast and stuff. But yeah, nowadays I'm more of a 7 o'clocker or 8 o'clocker.
You're one to talk. Give me back my 5 extra minutes, Ash. I want my sleep.
Hey, don't make fun of me.
Kinda
I
loud.
can be a...
Sorry, I forgot if you clicked off. Yeah. Yeah, why is it so loud, dude? Turn it down a notch.
more person too if I want to.
Not bad, maybe. Okay. We'll just settle with this for now.
What's this all really about? You don't usually make calls around this hour. Is the world ending today?
Sorry about that. Becca rang me up a few minutes ago looking for Isabella. Said she didn't show up in her own apartment last night. We both tried calling, but her phone seems to be off. Do you have any idea where...
I should have known you two would come looking for her first thing in the morning.
Not a laughing matter, Zach. You can't really let your guard down with everything that's happened here recently. You've heard about the Cooper one from the news. Everyone in the precinct has been restless ever since the incident the other day.
You'd think, like, after seeing the letter and then looking at the murder incident where, like, the words of the letter was on the wall or whatever, like in the exact same writing style, they'd be a bit more fearful, but maybe they just didn't connect the dots.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Or the fact that that's Isabella's friend.
Listen, Ash, about Bella.
I let my voice trail off, unsure of how to go about recounting last night. If I should even say anything to him. Might be a close friend, but at the end of the day, whatever's bothering her ain't mine to speak of in the first place. On the bed, Isabella remains as still as when I transferred her the night before. Sometime during her sleeps, she pulls up a blanket over herself and tucked into it comfortably. Like this, it's easy to forget the horror in her eyes, or how much her hands and lips trembled. Saving for her firm grip on the edge of the covers, she appeared nearly as normal as she would any other day. Almost.
I'm not really sure how to go about this while being...
Zach, what about her?
Don't make this awkward, bro. Sometimes the worry, the concern must have surfaced in my tone because his own shifts then. Carefully, as if he's preparing for the worst.
Look, you don't have to worry about her. She's with me right now. Since last night, in fact.
Making it sound weird.
Oh, why did you just say so earlier?
Or not.
She kind of knocked in the middle of the night. I couldn't
We did
possibly
kind of,
control over that.
you don't remember, we did kind of ship, or we're trying to ship Ashton and Isabella. A bit. It kind of worked, I think, though it didn't. I don't know how much progress was actually made. Even though I do kind of like, you know, through the recent events, the whole Rebecca with Ashton thing, but I don't know. Whatever.
And with how things are when she arrived, I thought it'd be best if I let her rest first. I just wasn't expecting people would be looking for her before the rooster even crows.
It's how you know you got good friends.
You could have at least called her something. Becca's beside herself with worry when she found out.
Or, I mean, I guess it made sense they're worrying about her after she's been acting quote-unquote weird around.
You know how much she frets about the smallest stuff.
Frets. And even... No.
I know.
It
I'm
doesn't
sorry.
matter.
That was a lapse on my part. And I just didn't think...
It was late at night, too, you know?
Okay, you know what? Rebecca's worries ain't completely baseless. Isabella hasn't been her usual self since the movie. Maybe even before that. I don't know if I should be opening my mouth about this, but Bella didn't outright say I shouldn't, so
So something's wrong then?
I'm not quite sure, to be completely honest. I couldn't get the story out of her.
Really? I thought you'd learned something from me by now.
That's not it. Ash, when she appeared at my doorstep last night, she was shaking, and when I tried to ask her about it, she just panicked. Had this frightened look on her face. I'd be surprised if this was the first time I've seen it, but it ain't. Dude, the first time she was screaming.
First time? When was this?
Yeah, what was the first time? What am I?
You
I don't
aren't talking
remember.
about the thing in the movie house, are you? Because that was just us fooling around. Granted, I think I went overboard with the joke, but...
Was it when she saw her in the store window? I actually don't remember.
No, it happened the day after.
Oh,
She
yeah,
invited us to
yeah.
lunch. You weren't there.
Oh, yeah. It was the window thing. Right, Ashton wasn't there. It was after the lunch, okay. And then, kind of connecting the dots back in my head. We did take like a 2-week break from this.
We were walking one second, and then the next, she's crying out. I'll be straight with you. That scared me shitless.
I'd be scared too. It bothered him if the way he falls silent after his telling. But whatever his opinion is, stays absent from his voice when he speaks again. He's always been good with that, hiding what he thinks.
Did she say anything else?
Nothing. Won't tell me anything aside from a few vague words. I didn't want to push it.
Where is she? Is she still sleeping?
Right here with me, still sleeping. Should I wake her up or something? Let her know you guys are looking for her?
No need. Let her rest. I'll drop by in a few.
Today? Don't you have work at this time? I mean, I can drop her off home myself before meeting my client later.
That surprised Zach face.
Who keeps talking?
My schedule's flexible, Ash. Last time I checked, you're the one who didn't have that luxury. How on earth do you think I'm able to tag along when you need me?
It's not completely out of the way.
They live on the other side of the town from you, Ash. Your definition of out of the way is a little screwed up, you know.
It's fine. I have some things I need to do anyway. I'll call you back. I've got to let Becca know that Scared Cat's fine. Bye.
Okay. Story update. 25th. Come morning, Zachary received a phone call from Ashton, who was looking for Isabella. Zachary informed him that she was stayed over and of the circumstances. Before ending the call, Ashton offered to pick her up. He dropped the call before I can even get a word in, and for several minutes after, I find myself simply listening to the rest of Luxembourg rouses. The increasing sound of passing traffic, the bustle of the nearby shops preparing for the day, and the growing of clamor of the people while they go about their morning. Not the most soothing sounds to hear following a troubled night, but the routine puts me at ease nevertheless. What's comforting, what's safe, and what I'm used to. Nearby, Isabella shifts but doesn't wake, blissfully unaware as the city slowly stirs itself back to life. Was her night as restless as the one I had? Were her dreams as lucid? In hushed moments like this, I envy her. Unreasonable, probably a little unfair to say such in the light of last night. If only forgetting is as easy as breathing. A small yawn escapes me when I rise from the couch to stretch. Luckily, the short conversation with Ash has effectively driven away any ill will to go back to bed. I still have a day to get through despite the proverbial ghosts hanging around. The orange bottle sitting at the edge of my table is reassuring against my palm the instant I pick it up, the sterile odor of the capsules equally so. Yet the way they carry is something I've never gotten used to. Years ago, I'd spend minutes, heck even hours staring at a single pill prior to taking one in. Now it's just routine. A way to starve off the unwanted nightly visits. So yeah, we did see him dreaming about his parents' death. I think, yeah, his parents died in a robbery, and he had to live with his sister, and he was like having a nightmare. Although I don't think Dr. Navarro will be quite pleased if he finds out I'm relying on them again. I do owe him a visit regardless, especially after missing our appointments on purpose and ignoring his calls for weeks. Another sigh comes out, tired and weary. Then I pop the tablet into my mouth.
Zach? What time is it?
The bottle on my hand hits the table with more force than necessary. As much as I trust my friends, there are some things I'd rather keep to myself.
Morning, Bella. Did you sleep well?
He answers the question with a long, drawn-out yawn, one reminiscent of a child. A chuckle manages to come out of my mouth at the sight. In this manner, it's easy to mistake her for someone too young for responsibilities. Inexperienced and immature even. Easy to forget that she was thrust into the role of an adult earlier than her own dreams can afford, to overlook how surprisingly observant she can be at times. Maybe not on the same level as Ash exercises for his investigations or Rebecca needs for her own work, but it's certainly enough to deftly put what she sees around her on canvas. And if the way her eyes flickers to the table and my hand says something, it's that I won't be able to avoid the questions this time.
Only a little. I don't remember how I ended up on the bed, though.
Ma doing? You didn't look very comfortable sleeping on the couch, all hunched up like that.
It would have been enough for something temporary. Sorry I stole your bed.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Besides, what kind of gentleman would I be if I leave a lady sleeping in such uncomfortable conditions?
If that's the couch she was sleeping on, that does look pretty uncomfortable. They're probably sleepable, but for Zach, who's a freaking massive dude, that must have been rough.
Not in this house. My nana would give me a tough scolding if I ever did that. I'm telling you.
Thanks a lot, Zach. I know I barged in at a very inconvenient time last night. I wasn't really thinking when I did, and
Hey, it's cool, Bella. I ain't mad at you. That's what friends do. You guys are welcome here anytime. Although Ashton abuses the anytime part a lot, I don't really mind. We might have less wiggle room if all four of us are present, considering the size of this place. But as long as no one makes anything explode, it's totally fine.
fine or not, I still owe you one for last night's trouble, especially since you don't seem to be.
Concerned expression passes over her features as she spares another cursory glance over the table back at the bottle, holding every small piece of what keeps the bad memories at bay. And even though I didn't comment on it, obviously it's not prescribed medicine, hiding it from his doctor. The blood blooming over Pa's hurt, the horrified look on Ma's face as she watches him fall lifeless on the ground, and every ounce of spite seeping from the stranger's smile. You don't belong here. You monkeys don't belong here. Cringe. It never stops, does it? Doesn't it?
You don't seem to be feeling well. Let me know, okay? I'll make it up to you somehow.
She makes a slight gesture with her head towards the bottle, asking a question without really asking. Subtly has never been one of her greatest assets, but right now, even Ash would have been a little amazed, if not lost for words at that. She has left it up to me whether I'll give her the response she wants to hear or not. A little clever coming from her if anyone would ask me. Honestly, it's like not really her business, you know? It's pretty private stuff, and I wouldn't really blame Zachary from not wanting to say. Honestly, you know, lessons from Hidarashi, dude. You know, friends can keep secrets. Just because you're a friend and you trust them, you should tell everything, even the bad stuff. Because sometimes the friends wouldn't even know what to do with that. Though I think I will just tell the truth. Even though we were mini ranting. Because I think that's fine with Isabella. But... And she actually actively wants to know, so... Boost? Yeah. Boosting the Isabella bar. Hopefully we don't make it like... I mean, Ashton's winning by a bit. I do want to pair Ashton and Isabella, so... It's kind of tough, huh? But it's never easy, ain't it? Talking about my own problems, that is. It will never be. Not by a long shot. Not when I've let it stay this way for so long. Though I do think it's the best, you know, get it off his chest will also help Zach too, so... Probably the best option. I've realized that long ago, when the wounds are still fresh, and the dreams are a nightly occurrence, can't force yourself to get better, or move on to better things. It's what's normal now, and I can only cope. The question in her eyes may be unwarranted, or simply out of curiosity and sincere concern for a friend. I don't owe her an explanation, in fact. But of all the people I keep close in my life, she'll probably one of the very few who perhaps I can trust this with. Maybe she won't understand entirely. I can never hope she will. No, never to the full extent. That alone is expecting too much of her, and giving too much of what I can. However, for all of her shortcomings, I know she'll hear me out. And that is all I can ask of her.
My bad. I was kind of hoping you wouldn't have seen me with these.
The pills rattle lightly against the container when I gently set it back to its usual place. Always the small area closest to my laptop, near the right hand. Within reach whenever, and a quiet reminder of what I shouldn't miss every day.
What? Oh, is it bad? I was just thinking that maybe it's a cold like Becca's.
Oh.
Do you need me to get anything from the store? Soup or something? There's one nearby, right? I can run real quick and...
No, nothing of that sort. I'm perfectly healthy right now. It's really difficult to say, but can you promise me you'll listen at least?
What is this about, Zach?
I should have been upfront with you about this a long time ago. Well, Ashton found out without me telling him anything. But you already know how that guy is. Can't hide anything from him.
If it's something you're having trouble saying, you don't have to force yourself to tell me. I'll forget I ever saw anything and won't ask questions. Promise.
No, I need to get this off my chest eventually. Besides, we're already here. Might as well finish what I started, yeah?
If you say so.
She takes a seat on the couch, her posture easy and open, and her smile honest. As if this is just a simple talk between two friends on a regular day. It's far from one, but her unreserved air is enough to stamp down the twinge of unease that threatens to come up.
Let's hear it then.
And she does. Feels like yesterday. To her words, she listens whilst the story spills out of my mouth. Of my mom, pa, that little old diner across the pond, and what's left in me that day. Also, love the song. This was my favorite OST, right? Sounds great to the ears. Bow, bow. I can't recall most of it now. My own account of Count Jagged with a few missing details here and there. The passing years have eroded most of my recollection of the whole incident. All except for that one moment in the kitchen. The ringing of gunshots are as vivid as it sounded that day. Even Ma's hysterical screams the moment Pa's body hits the floor motionless, his lifeblood flowing out from under him. And the gunman. He was smiling. He was smiling when Pa opened the door to welcome him. He was smiling when he put a bullet to Pa's chest and Ma's head. I've heard stories of how the world can be cruel for people like us before. I never believed until that moment.
Nan and Gran took us right after that. Sis and I flew straight to New Jersey as soon as they heard the news. A few days after, Ma and Pa were laid to rest. And we have a new home a continent away. I didn't even get the chance to take my favorite pillow with me. They said something about the change of environment will be good for us. They had no idea the different kind of ghosts would follow me here.
I expected questions, mostly those brimming with childlike curiosity, and maybe some that are a little too hard to answer. But to her credit, she just sat there, lent her ears, and looked up at me with no expectations or unnecessary judgment in her eyes. She appears wiser and older like this, easier to see the breadwinner in her. Her younger siblings are lucky to have her. When I'm done, after everything's been said, she wraps her arms around me. A bit awkward considering the gap in our heights, but it gets her sentiment across. But it's difficult to answer this in kind, if I'm even supposed to reciprocate the gesture given in my earlier apprehension. She pulls away shortly with a smile on her face. Sorry, I kind of was zoned out for a bit. Oh, odd. Okay. I was like, what just happened? Not the reaction I based myself for, but it obviously better than what I imagined.
Are you not gonna say anything?
Yeah, Isabella's an understanding person. Honestly, he just wanted to get it off his chest, I think.
Am I supposed to say anything after? Like, apologize or something? I don't think that's very appropriate, but if you want to hear one, I can think of something real quick.
Not really. Other people have something to say after usually. And they're not necessarily nice either.
What would people say after that? How can you be mean after such a heartfelt story, dude? I mean, in her position, I wouldn't know what to do. Like, she's kind of right. Like, what is she supposed to say? She's sorry? Oh, yeah. Good girl, Isabella, huh?
Oh, okay then. I won't. I can't think of something anyway. Sorry, I'm not very good with this. Who else knows, by the way?
Ashton.
My older sister, grandparents, and just Ash and you for now. Maybe I think I should tell Rebecca too, but
Probably just should. Since we're like, since these guys are like such a good group of friends, might as well.
But not right now?
yeah, not right now. When I'm ready. Like today.
I'm sure she'll be willing to hear you out once you do.
I don't doubt she will. I'm more afraid of how she'll react after. One step at a time, yeah?
Like, I'm just trying to imagine, like, what's a bad reaction to that story? Like, I don't know, laughing at him? Like, what could someone possibly say? I mean, unless you're just like a total asshole. Which obviously Rebecca is not.
Whew. Surprisingly, it feels
I
good
don't
to
know.
get that one out my chest. I was a little afraid you'd be angrier. I didn't tell you earlier than today.
Oh, I just angry for keeping it bottled in.
I'm not angry. I'm just surprised. You didn't look like it. I wouldn't have suspected. I suppose that's how it often is, isn't it? We all have our... what's the word Becca uses? Inner demons? But this is something personal to you. I understand why you'd rather have a few people know.
That too. Well, these past few weeks haven't been easy for you. I didn't want to add that. Not after last night.
Something passes in her face, brief, fleeting, and disappears right before I can recognize what it is.
You okay?
Yep, no worries. I'll be fine. Look, about last night... Never mind. This isn't a good time.
Sorry, we kind of already told Ashton if you wanted to keep it a secret.
But don't lose sleep over this, alright? What's important is you got what you want to say out. And if you need me, I'll be here.
I honestly feel like, I still feel like Isabella should just take the initiative and tell her friends more about the curse, you know, and how to solve it. Which I do think they do eventually, because all the friends end up going to the party, but still. I should be relieved. Her words are more than reassuring to my ears. There should be comfort in hearing those alone, in knowing that I have another person to rely on if things ever go bad. But somehow I find myself worrying more for her instead. I'll make another attempt to get the story out of her if I can. But this is a dance I know all too well, and with her, I doubt forcing her to say something would yield any results. As much as I want to imitate Ash, there's only so much I can ask that won't result in something a little over disastrous. At best, she'll stop talking to me until a week passes. At worst, I'd rather not risk it. I've never seen her angry. Alright, annoyed, maybe, and often directed at Ash, but never furious. What do they say about the happiest people when angered? Besides, it'd be unfair to her after our little chat.
So, food then?
She seems relieved at the brisk change of subject, and as if it has been simply waiting for its cue all this time, her stomach rumbles at the mention of food. Rather loudly, as a matter of fact.
Alrighty, Missy. We're going to get some chow now. Better be quick, though. Can't have your stomach starting a revolution on us here.
Don't make fun of me. I'm not that hungry. Maybe a little. I didn't think I'd end up skipping dinner last night.
And now we have one starved stomach protesting. Sorry, it'll be nothing fancy, since I'm a little low on stocks. I should probably drop by the grocery store after the meeting this afternoon.
I can make a quick run for you if you want.
Nah, I've got enough to put together something nice here. Maybe. I could always improvise if we're missing an ingredient or two. It ain't like we're going for a Michelin 3-star status here. Also, didn't I say you're a guest? Is this a Filipino thing? Or just Rebecca rubbing off on you?
Huh? The soft laughter that comes from her doesn't quite reach her eyes. Neither, the answer's neither. Because if she stays idle, she'll remember.
On second thought, I might need a little help slicing up the potatoes while I prep the ham.
Potatoes.
You up for that?
What? Do you think instant noodles are all I'm about? I'll have you know I can cook a mean paella with my eyes closed. All my siblings love it.
I got a doodle paella. What is that? Guessing it's a Filipino food, which means I should know what it is, but I'll be honest, I don't. I think I googled this before actually. Isn't this like someone? I think it was from this game. Yeah, we definitely googled this.
Sure you can.
Yeah.
Come
Okay.
on. I think I know what we'll do with those spare ingredients.
In her profile, right? Paella. Anyways, getting kind of off topic here. Time passes. Isabella saw Zachary taking an unknown medicine, and concerned asked what it was. He admitted he'd suffering from a trauma ever since his parents were killed in a hate crime. Isabella could only offer him a comforting hug. Delighted in the mood, the two decided to cook breakfast afterwards. Despite the massive effort to keep the mood light with small chatter, cooking ends up being a mostly quiet affair. Between us, the constant clapping of the knife against the board, the muffled noise from the television, the left running words have become surprisingly difficult to string together. Not entirely unusual. We've had moments like this before, but definitely unnerving with how things are now. I really wish someone else would come knocking at the door. As pleasant as this is, breaking the ice or keeping a conversation going has never been my forte. That has always been Isabella's or Rebecca's department. Sometimes Ash's, although most coming from him, border on awkward or embarrassing. Speaking of the guy, he never did call back, and I'm willing to bet my entire yearly salary that he fell right back to sleep after the call. Pay up, buddy.
Sorry, Bella. Could you?
Yep, I got it. The potatoes are almost ready, by the way. I turned down the heat just in case. You might want to check on them, though. Hold on, I'll be right there. Sheesh, wait up. If you keep rapping at the door like that, you'll break it down. Ash.
Oh, good. You're awake.
Ash has already welcomed himself in when I take my eyes away from the oven. He's never been really keen with the notion of courtesies after he's warmed up to you. This guy. All 13 of my lots he broke can attest to that. He's a good fellow, though. Maybe a tad bit standoffish at first glance, but he's trustworthy.
Don't you have work today?
I could ask the same of you. Hey, Z-Man.
Z-Man.
You're late. Something came up? You need to drop the Z-Man. It's getting old.
Sorry, I got caught up with something at the precinct on the way here. Had to attend to that first before things got out of hand. I'd tell you about it, but you know how it can be with those kinds of things. Later, maybe.
And you're here because...
What? I'm not allowed to say hello?
I doubt you're here because of that. And you're not answering my question.
How's this on the timeline? Is this... Oh, obviously this is after. It kinda kissed. Duh, because this is right after Isabella's story.
Ah, my bad. Forgot to mention that. He called earlier looking for you. Rebecca's worried because you didn't come home last night.
You could have called my cell instead.
You weren't picking up.
Ooh.
Anyway, I'd really hate to cut this little get-together short, but I need to be somewhere else.
What about breakfast, though?
Come on, Isabella, let's get you home. I'll drop you off on the way.
Wait, we're going now?
He lightly claps a hand on her arm and begins ushering her out of the apartment, throwing a casual wave at me as they pass. Isabella, on the other hand, doesn't appear too fond of the idea. And sure enough, before they get even cross the threshold, he puts a firm foot down, and the force alone is enough to halt them both and catch the taller man off guard. It would have made for a funny picture. The way Ash almost crashes into her and Isabella giving him an indignant pout over her shoulder. Surprise and confusion are in his face all at once, two things that rarely ever grace that if he can help it. A rare moment even for our small group. If only I have my camera with me. Dang.
What is it?
Zach cooked something.
If it's just food, I'll get you something on the way back.
So douchey, dude. I love it.
But the food! It's Zach's cooking. Real delicious food that actually tastes like food.
What, you're dissing fast food?
At least stay and have a bite, please. Zach, help me here.
He is too. Whenever they're in the same room, sometimes it feels like hurting a group of unruly kids instead of talking to two mature adults. One moment they're engaged in a pleasant chit-chat, and the next they're bickering over a minor issue. Frankly, if I didn't know any better and have an overactive imagination, I'd said there's something going on. Well, I'm trying, but who knows how that'll end up. Never mind how utterly impossible that idea is. Or it might just be me reading too much into things like always. I can already hear Ash's laughter if I so much as suggested such. This, however... I don't know, dude. One boosts Isabella, one boosts Ashton. They're both pretty high on Zach's relationship, right? Maybe we need a boost Ashton. Though I guess we shouldn't think about it too much and just say what I think's right, which is eating together. I don't know. Might be nice to have them around.
I don't know about you two, but I think you guys should really stay. I've already made enough food for all of us, and it'd be a waste.
Even though we're kind of like pushing some friendship bar stuff, so I do just kind of just go with my gut. It boosts both of them, dude. I knew it. I mean, I didn't know it, but it worked out well. Yeah, just choose the good option, Aiden, and don't overthink it.
Why, I cooked up that special honey glazed ham you two keep on yapping about. Got some scalloped potatoes with onions and cheddar to go with it too.
That sounds pretty good, actually. The oven timer dings. I shoot two of them an apologetic look before sauntering over the kitchen, mittens in hand. The sweet smell of the glaze and the salty taint of melted cheese wafts through the air as soon as I open the door and take out the two trays inside. The scent immediately fills the entire room, and even with the door and windows open, a mouth-watering aroma lingers. It's appealing enough that when I put the dishes on the counter, another starved stomach protests loudly, followed by a burst of laughter. My head snaps up at the two of them, and I can't keep at the smile at the sight they make. Isabella's clinging to the doorframe for support, doubled over with breathless laughter. Ash is more composed of the two, trying to look unconcerned, but a flush has crept up his neck and cheeks. It's clear whose stomach that came from, and Isabella's not going to let him live this down.
You're in no place to reject an offer of free food, Frey.
I wasn't rejecting anything. Damn it, I just missed a meal, that's all.
Aw, he's flustered.
Shut it! Those guys at the precinct said it was urgent. Somebody has to be responsible for it.
Well, aren't you precious?
Right. You know, if you keep laughing like that, you'll burst.
I'm sure it won't be as bad as your stomach suddenly rumbling like a starved.
Aye, kiddos, play nice. Food's gonna get cold if we keep this up. Ash, you gonna stay?
Might as well, since Scaredy Cat's so hell-bent on staying.
Thumbnail. That's cute. That looks kind of good. I don't know what's going on with that potato, though. Isn't that like scallions, potatoes, and melted cheese? That looks so funky. But that Isabella's plate, it's just freaking mounted on there, dude. Piled up. We eventually settled down after the food has been served. The jibes replaced by another round of friendly chatter, mostly about what's going on in the news the night before. There is, however, a conscious effort to avoid mentioning what's currently on the headlines. The dead is never a good topic to talk over food and polite company. This case in particular. The wounds are too fresh too soon. I'd likely avoid it as well if I were in her position, and sometimes I personally knew, and someone I personally knew passed away in a gruesome manner like that. Though perhaps the closest thing we got to broaching the topic is when the infamous mansion is brought up again. But even then, we are careful, Ash and I. We keep the conversation light and avoid bringing up her late business partner. It's the least we could do.
The Wrights? Yeah, they're planning to move in soon. In fact, they already have a housewarming party planned. It's why they wanted us to rush the papers. They wanted to send the invitations out as soon as possible.
Or maybe maybe Zach already did do the photo shoot with Hannah, because I said, I don't know. I guess maybe not actually. Yeah, so it's a day before.
Oh, now I get it.
Get what?
Remember what I told you last night about the new clients?
Vaguely? Sorry, I was a little out of it yesterday. Was it the photo shoot?
Yep, it's actually for the one you sold. Something.
Ermited Mansion.
When you put it that way,
I know that's not how you
my
pronounce
boss
it.
wants me to prioritize the couple. They can have those documents rushed at just a snap of their fingers. Then they're more influential than I initially thought. Man, I guess my boss is expecting a lot more from this project than I expected. Hope I can live up to it.
Your photographs are more than good enough, Zach. You'd probably win an international award if you let yourself. Ma'am Hana's easy to please, too. As long as you're good at following instructions.
Easier said than done. Different clients have different tastes after all.
Still, a week? I don't think that's possible.
Now that you mentioned it, yeah. They wanted everything finished at the earliest. To be honest, it's not unheard of, but...
But it's still weird. Still weird, yeah?
The slip of the tongue. Still barely noticeable to someone who's already familiar with Ash's ways, yet in this moment it's impossible to miss. It shoot him a curious glance, but he ignores it. Rather blatantly.
I can't exactly say it's like that, where I'm just the middleman after all. As much as I want to comment on it, I only know what's on the surface, not the in and outs. It's just that BRC and my boss are more hands-on with the legal stuff this time, despite having a separate department dedicated to it.
Maybe Mr. Wright helped with it too. They have their own legal team for this, don't they?
Well, they should have one. Especially for a big property like this.
They have, but like I said, it's off our hands. Rose and I don't handle this stuff in the office. If anything, to me, this just means I'll be able to send the rest of the funds to Papa's treatment earlier.
I guess that makes a whole lot of sense. Officially off our instant noodle diet, aren't we?
Ash, has anyone ever told you that you have an uncanny way of ruining the mood?
What? I was just saying. A few more months of stuffing your face with those, and I'm sure you'll start to look like a noodle cup. That's a pretty picture.
At least I don't live off convenience store food. Or make poor, unassuming pressure cookers explode.
Dude, pressure cookers scare me. I have one, and I did the test thing where you just put water, but I stopped it halfway. It's freaking spooky, dude. I'm too scared to use it. It does feel like it's gonna explode, even though, you know, it's safe. I don't know, unless you don't follow the instructions properly, then it probably can explode.
What? How did you... Oh, come on, Zach.
Sorry, it just came up while we were cooking earlier.
I'm impressed, Ashton Frey. You even made it to the news.
A one-time thing. And it wasn't as big as you seem to be imagining.
Oh, sure. Let's all pretend that one time you almost set my apartment on fire didn't happen too.
Okay.
Hey, that was an accident.
You were making a salad, Ash.
What? How?
Can we please move on to a different topic?
How's that even possible, dude? Unless you're like, depends on the salad, maybe? Though most salads you don't cook anything. It helps. The casual talk and the harmless teasing, the mundane stories, interesting enough to let the time pass unnoticed. By the time lunch ends, the shadows are no longer at the forefront of my mind. It's the same for Isabella. For whatever troubles her, I can never tell. These things, the anxiety, the fear, they ain't easily seen, ain't easily forgotten after all.
You go on ahead. I've got a few things I need to ask Zach. I'll be downstairs in a minute.
Confusion briefly flashes in her eyes as she catches the keys he tossed over, but he doesn't give her an answer. He waits for her to go ahead.
How sure are you I won't be driving away with your Shirley?
You don't even have a license. Do you even know how to?
Papa taught me how. I'm probably a better driver than you.
I'd hope not, as a investigator.
See you later, Zach. Thanks for the food.
Well, I mean, you don't need to be the best driver, but you'd assume.
Always has to have the last word, don't you?
You're welcome. I'll send you the recipe for the potatoes tonight.
Alright, we're gonna stop here though. Right before maybe a serious talk with Ashton. Probably about Isabella's well-being. But thank you for watching, as always, and I will see you next time with some more of the letter. Pretty good episode. Nice relationship building with Isabella and Ashton. I'll see where we go on from that. Eventually, we'll probably get to maybe we'll get to the next day and I don't know if they'll actually show the interaction between Hana and Zach again just through his perspective, but I guess we'll see. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye!